Hello and a very good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are again in the world once more. Wonderful having you all here. It's just great to connect and to be here once more. So let's just wait again for a few more people to join us, and then we will dive into a fascinating subject that I'm still working on. Hi, Venetia. Thank you so much for being here and for, what's the word? What you're doing? Monitoring everything? Something like that. You're supporting. You're just, that's great. And of course, Venetia is the Senior Director of Alternatives in London with this amazing program that they are running with incredible speakers and seminars and workshops. Moderating, thank you. That's very moderate. But this is great. So wonderful having you all here. And what's is there in terms of comments? Not really that many. So let's just have a look where it goes. I was reflecting a bit today because my workload was just absolutely crazy. And it has actually been pretty crazy for a few months. The whole of January with this January challenge program and daily videos about all these topics. Then my audiobook, which I recorded myself, and then working on the online master training, which took on such a different shape from what I originally expected and which is live. So last week I introduced it without it being live. It came live next morning. So it's basically been around for a week, and I'm just so grateful for the feedback. It really is quite fascinating to see the interest, to get the feedback, and to see that it really takes a deeper step into the development of Reiki. And there have been lots of questions, and I've been looking around what else is basically out there. And over the last 10, 20 years, most of what was built as a development of Reiki was basically something outside of Reiki. So it was a development of other techniques or of new ideas, but it wasn't really working within Reiki. And with my, I don't know what it is, my dedication maybe to Reiki, my fascination, my strive to be as authentic and original as possible, I really want to understand the system, but I know that this is taking it this time really further. And it's just a fascinating development without leaving the system of Reiki. Reiki always is the basis. In fact, I do often wonder whether other systems that say they do something that is similar but outside of Reiki are often based on the original Reiki, or in fact the people who are using it have started with Reiki. So it's very hard to say whether other systems would actually function without people being attuned to Reiki first. So I really feel Reiki is a gateway, a door opener, a way to find interest and practical, tangible understanding of Reiki, but then also to deepen the spiritual path. And of course, the world is just so fascinating. Reiki is one way of looking at things, and it's a way to explore things in just really, really beautiful ways. But there are many ways to understand the world. And this afternoon, a friend of Mum's and mine came round, who is a professor for astrophysics. And he's a mathematician. This is his specialty. He worked at the, I don't know what it's called, institute that originally was built this way in Potsdam, near Berlin. This is where I am at the moment, in Potsdam, for Albert Einstein. who was also an astrophysicist. So it is just fascinating to see this connection. And of course, Einstein famously remarked that the more he understood about, I don't know whether he said science or the universe or physics or astrophysics, something like that, the more he starts believing in God. And he did not mean a man with a long gray beard. Well, that's not wrong. That's a stupid remark. But what he meant was a higher power. And this is this big topic. So we had this long discussion, and we started that I think last year. And this professor said something about his research into the structure of the universe, the mathematic structure and mathematic formula that repeat itself in nature. And for me, that was an incredible breakthrough, because if there was one thing I would not have brought together, it would have been nature and maths. But maths basically try to understand the world, the concept, make it measurable, but also nature can be measurable. Nature develops, a plant grows, and a plant grows in a certain ratio from the seed to the next step, to the next step, and so on. And that is measurable. And the way it grows, the way it expands, is following a mathematic formula. I just thought that was so incredible. And it made me think again. And it was interesting when we had this conversation. This professor was all about understanding the universe, understanding how things are set up, finding the mathematical structure. And for me, it was very much, I called it the kind of more philosophical side of it. But for me, it's very much not just understanding the structure, but understanding why there can be such a logical structure. And the structure is in everything. I once, I don't know when that came out, 20, 30 years ago, read something about chaos theory. I think that's just kind of directly translating it from German. But I don't know whether there's a different word for that in English language. But to understand chaos, to understand what creates chaos, and to ultimately understand there is a structure within chaos. We look at something when that just everything is out of place and we say it's chaotic. But to reach a chaos requires structure, requires something that creates this mayhem, this what we can understand as total chaos. So when we look at the world and we see a lot of chaos, there is still some kind of structure behind. So there's basically a certain structure in everything, because the world is structured. And nothing can, well, happen outside this structure. There are building blocks. And so I don't know why this is just coming from right now, but what comes to my mind is about particle. So everything is, well, can be broken down to particles. We are now talking the quantum level, quantum physics. But then, of course, particles are structured. They are structured in themselves, and they form structure. So it is a building block of everything, of nature, of chaos, of ourselves. It's just so fascinating. So this leads to the topic, the big topic I'm working on at present. And it is the way, I think, the key to understanding life, to key to understanding our lives, to the key to understanding the universe, the key to understanding everything, and the key to understanding Reiki. Consciousness. And this is why I call this new master level, Reiki Science Master Training, stepping into consciousness, because we become more conscious of what's going around. But ultimately, we are striving to become conscious of everything that is. We want to understand the bigger picture. But in order to do that, we need to understand that there is a bigger picture, an idea in everything. What idea? I don't really like that. There is, well, I just don't have another word. There is consciousness in everything. So it's not just we are becoming conscious of what is there, but in everything is consciousness. And this is just this unbelievably fascinating concept. And it is so difficult to describe, but it is not so difficult to experience, because we can sense into everything. And we can do that because there is consciousness in this. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to sense that. If you've ever held a crystal, if you ever felt connected to nature, if you communicated to dogs, to animals, if you became aware of things going on, of emotions, of things going on in life, of energies, then this is really what consciousness does, being aware. And because there is consciousness in everything, we can become aware. If there was no consciousness in something, it would be dead. But there is no such thing as things being dead. So basically, there is consciousness in everything. And this is why we can pick things up, why we can feel something, why we can sense the spirit of a place, of a space. We sense what's going on there because there is consciousness. And the fact that there is consciousness means that through everything in the universe, experiences can be made and had. So there is this famous quote, and I really, really need to Google who it is by. Is it Descartes? I think it is. It may be Rousseau. I think, therefore I am. And when I first heard that, I thought, wow, yes, this is what makes it human. It's rubbish. It's completely wrong. We may say, well, we think, and this is something very special about being human. So we think, therefore we are human. But Descartes, thank you very much. But then we look at our dogs. Okay, our dogs don't think. An ant doesn't think. A tree doesn't think. What is a thought? Well, let's just do this little exercise, and I really like that. Think of something. Think of whatever. That the lighting, once again, is not perfect. That there is a funny painting behind me, which actually isn't a painting. It is an old pub sign. I think you need to go there. The pub was called the Crossroads. I suppose it was placed by the Crossroads, and I got it in an antique shop a few years ago in London. Or near London. So yes, so you may think of that. You may think of anything. You might think of coffee or what you are having for dinner after this show or something like that. Just think of something. Isn't it great that we can think? We think. And often when we think, we identify. Paul, thank you so much. Mushrooms even think. Yes, absolutely. So we identify with a thought. And this is where this idea came from by Descartes. Thank you. I think, therefore I am. So we completely identify as thinking beings. But the fascinating thing is, and that's the spiritual take, we are not our thoughts. We are beings who think. So we have a thought. So now this thought that you have in your mind at present, just think of something. Think of whatever. Maybe make it just a little bit easier and just think of what are you having to eat after the show, or whether you're having to eat something. And suddenly, this is the thought in your mind. And then try to look at this thought. Just observe the thought and think, there is a thought in my mind, which is actually really difficult for me to do at the moment, because I'm also speaking. So this is taking multitasking to a different level, and that is really difficult. But yeah, it was just a thought that I was aware of. So yes, so thoughts can be very fleeting, but thoughts come and go. Isn't that interesting? And we are still there. So no, we are not our thought, but we can think. But the thought, something is created in our mind. And this is what we do in meditation. We try for a moment to be free of thought, or we become aware of our thoughts. But the idea is, in this process, to become aware of ourselves. And that is the thinker, not the thought. So we are the thinker. Yes, we are the watcher, Jenny. Absolutely. But then we, as in me, Torsten, I'm watching my thought. But just as I watch my thought, the consciousness within me is experiencing me, is observing me, is watching me, is experiencing me, and is experiencing through me. This is the divine within us. And it experiences without judgment. It experiences for experience only. So we are the ones who judge. And of course, we judge because we have experiences that we enjoy and those that we don't enjoy. And maybe we should learn from that and either learn to enjoy experiences that we don't enjoy that much, or learn how to let go of these experiences. And once we learn how to do that on an individual level, we can maybe take a step and learn that on a collective level and get rid of experiences we don't like too much. Anger, wars, arguments between us, bitter arguments, rather than just exchanging arguments and learning from it, a deeper understanding. There is so much that we can change once we can become conscious of the fact that we can change everything, because that is what consciousness can do. Consciousness creates. Consciousness has not been created. Consciousness creates. So once we are stepping into this level, we can change so much. And this is something that developed over the course of creating this new master training. The realization that in Reiki we work with consciousness, but we can really step into a level where we can change this. And we can step into this consciousness and be this consciousness and work on the creative level of consciousness and change our experience. We can change our life, we can change our lives. And we do that because Reiki works on that level. And with the power of Reiki, we are tapping into this level. And we can get all the way up to the collective consciousness. And no, not just the collective consciousness. Well, it's probably semantic what I'm doing here, but I really mean the ultimate consciousness, the divine consciousness. And when we get on this level, we can change so much. We see more clearly, we understand more, we can give a deeper level of healing on the physical, mental, emotional, spiritual level, on all levels that Reiki works anyway. But we can really tap into this level where Reiki is coming from. Ultimately, one could say we become Reiki. And we can manifest on that level. We can really change. We can create things in incredible ways. We can see more. We can understand more. And we can step into a much deeper understanding of the world. It's we're getting into levels, whether we want to call them extraterrestrial or universal or just seeing the bigger picture, but it is just unbelievable how deep we can go when we start on this journey. And this is something that we can do at the Reiki Master level. And by understanding this and by getting these exercises channeled, how to do that, I finally understood what this quote that I put in my newsletter today really meant, the quote from the Book of Tao. But when I talk about Reiki Mastery, I don't want to be in any way derogatory about belittling about the level of just learning Reiki, Reiki 1, Reiki 2, working as a practitioner. This is incredible what we do on this level. So one could say, well, do you think you are something special at the master level? No, but we are so dedicated that we decided to really walk on this path to a level where we want to reach mastery. And to get a certificate stating we are Reiki Master does not give us Reiki Mastery. It's a certificate, but it gives us the tools. And this new training goes deeper into the tools and uses them in a deeper way. But what we then ultimately, and this again comes in steps, do is what the Book of Tao says. The master achieves everything by non-doing. And I put that in the newsletter. When I first read this, I knew it was completely true. I knew this was it, and I didn't understand it. I didn't know what it meant. But what I now understand is that while already we, in a way, do it with Reiki, we work by non-doing. We just place the hands and we let the energy flow. But on this master level, we can step into creating, uncreating, being active without doing, just by intention, by reaching the awareness that this is the ultimate level and we are part of this ultimate level. There's not the level and we are here. It just feels like a distance or like a difference because we wanted this limitation and we stepped into this limitation. But once we realize that we can step out of that limitation and we can utilize the connection with the divine, the ultimate power, the pure consciousness, then we can reach so much more. And this is what I want to do, and just see that Mike is getting in touch, saying that his lovely wife Maxine has a fit at the moment, and I'm sure when we are doing Reiki in a moment, we will send her Reiki. But I'm very aware that I promise to be in touch and to see if I can putting these things that I'm teaching, that I'm learning to understand more into practice, whether I can help more as well. And I will definitely do that. So I will be in touch over the next few days. Last few weeks have just been mad, creative chaos, but there was a structure in them. So this is where I wanted to get. It's food for thought, and to live, to walk in this higher awareness with more awareness for the life. And I really don't know why my nose is always itching when I'm doing this show. I don't know what it is. Excuse me for a second. And you can probably see that I wasn't very aware when that looks terrible, when I was operating a cooker recently. So I burned myself. But anyway, gave it lots of Reiki, so it's okay. It's just you can just see it a little bit now. So it's these little bits that we need to be aware of. It's hot, to the ultimate awareness of everything is connected, and we can step into that. There is a structure. We understand so much more. This life, over lives, over times, and once we step into consciousness, into the ultimate consciousness, we realize who we really are. We live differently. we connect differently, and life is so fascinating. Whether it leads to a more scientific approach, whether it leads to more love, whether it leads to just being a bit more relaxed because we understand that we are on this level and we are connected on this level. There is so much that we can achieve, and that we can achieve together. And I do realize that at the moment, what I'm really doing and what I feel these shows are at present are directed towards are just bringing out some thoughts so that we can go deeper together, we can reflect more. And I'm often getting emails afterwards, and some thank you emails, but also wonderful emails with reflections and with personal experiences on that level. And yes, Paul is just saying it relates to. I really like that. Let me just show that. It relates to divine spark ideas and life being matrix. Yes. So I don't use the word matrix because it is not something that I identify with somehow. Probably because I haven't seen the film or the films. So my nephew, his second name is Neo. So apparently that comes from the Matrix film. So maybe I really should watch that sometime. And so many people talk about Matrix, but I talk about interconnectedness. I talk about structure and ideas, which ultimately really means the same. And Paul is saying that he's seen Reiki through this view recently. So I think, yes, and this, thank you so much, Paul. This is what we can do. Of course, it's not just sitting there listening, thinking, oh, that was a lot tonight. It's very much about realizing when we change our perception, when we look at little things in our lives from different viewpoints, we can reach big things. We can take big steps. It's about little changes, little steps of understanding, and huge leaps of understanding a bigger picture and understanding our lives and living differently. And of course, we always have the wonderful connection to Reiki. We have the wonderful support. And this is just so unbelievable. It's interesting when I met with, and I mentioned that I think in an email recently, when I met up with a psychic friend recently, she said, well, you will do different things also, but you will never leave sight of Reiki, and you will never let go of Reiki, and you will never stop doing it. And I thought, of course I won't. That's my life. That is just, that changed my life, and that's so important. But then I do see a lot of things who learn Reiki and who don't take it further, probably because they didn't get this inspiration how much and what you can actually do with Reiki. And this is really what we want to do and what we are doing together to bring this excitement for Reiki into the world and into our lives, because it can change so much. There are so many wonderful things out there, but I find Reiki often can take us there, to other disciplines, to other ideas, to a deeper understanding, to other dimensions. It really is kind of stepping through these different dimensions. So this is what I want to kind of relay today, to talk about that a little bit. And there are lots of things. So I'm going, for my for myself, I'm going to Google Matrix tonight and just get a deeper understanding of the word. When you Google consciousness, it's so interesting. There is so little about ultimate or divine or even collective consciousness. And there is so much about different scientific takes, but it's all very limited. It's all very much about being aware of, being more self-aware, something like that. But it's the bigger picture really is very little explored or scientifically looked at, researched. Well, I think that should change. So we are doing that together, and that's amazing. Deborah is just suggesting to watch a movie called Resurrection with Ellen. Who's that? Anyway, Burston or something like that. I'll have a look at that. Yes, that is so interesting. It's actually something. A few years ago, I did a seminar. I attended a seminar with Neil Donald Walsh, whose first book, Conversations with God, the first one, really changed my life. And then I read the others, and he has written so many books. And it was after, I don't know, 20, 30 years in between that he uh, felt guided to add one more book to the original series of Conversations with God. And that was so Conversations with God 4. And that was very much about life on other planets, other civilizations, and so on. It was very interesting. At that time, it wasn't kind of completely well, it didn't have the importance for me, interestingly. So I took a few more years to get there. But what he said, and so much of the stuff he writes is channeled. What he said was channeled is that there's a lot of more insight and information coming into the human realm through music, poetry, literature, theater, and film, through the arts, because this is a way to understand it in easier ways and a way to understand more people. So it's an interesting development. So thank you so much, Deborah, for mentioning that. And I think there's definitely a reason that we talked about that tonight. Well, when I say about that I talked about that tonight, but but I really feel there is definitely a connection. There's a huge connection in these shows, an energetic connection, a connection between all of us, and especially when I look at the chat bar and you put things in. It's a bit scary because you are exposing yourself. So it's only once you, I think you're registered with, you have to have a Google account, I think something like that, and then you can you can chat there. So that basically means that you are exposed to the world, but it also means you can really engage with the world, and I think that's great. So thank you so much for engaging, for taking part. And of course, we always do also a Reiki share, and we connect to support each other. And I would really like to do that once more, for everybody to set their intention to receive help if they have a particular topic, or just let Reiki flow to calm them, to help them, to support them, but also set their intention to help everybody taking part in this Reiki share. And as Mike is taking part, but Maxime obviously cannot consciously because she had just this epileptic episode. So I would really like to include her so that we can all send her Reiki together with sending Reiki to everybody, but also making that a special focus of the Reiki share today. And of course, everybody is part of that share, not just those who are watching right now, but also everybody who is going to join in at a later stage. So when you're ready, it's so simple. Applied quantum physics. Set your intention to connect with everybody. So when you're ready, just bring your hands together for a moment and connect to Reiki. And then set your intention to connect with everybody, live or in a replay, at this Reiki share. Just connect with everybody. If you've learned the connection symbol, you can draw that and focus even more on the connection. And then just close your eyes and feel the flow of Reiki. Just really be aware of this reassuring flow, warmth, love of the energy. Sometimes the idea of science, research, maths, deep understanding feels so dry, and then we apply it with Reiki and we can just feel what's going on. And then you can take a moment to just thank Reiki, knowing that it will continue to flow, to continue to work. And in a physical way, it will have started kickstarting the self-healing abilities of the body, and in an emotional way, in a mental way, it will help us to change, to look from a different side, to get more calm and peace and see and understand what's going on more deeply. So just take a moment to thank Reiki and then come back into the here and now. It was really very, very powerful. And I had to kind of bring my hand down for a moment because I had to make a note. Something just came in that was just so fascinating, really bringing lots of different aspects together, and can't wait sharing all this. It is very much work in progress, but I'm just so grateful to be able to connect so regularly, to get all the beautiful feedback. It is just absolutely incredible. And just before we conclude for the day, may I just say that the Reiki Science Master online training, the new course at the introductory offer, which is half price, is available at this price for a few more days until Sunday. So there are a few more days for you to have a look at the concept and see how that resonates. And those who have already trained with me, as a Reiki Master in live courses. I've sent you a separate email. So if you haven't received that, please just do check your spam folder, or just send me an email and I'm going to send it back to you. So that's where we stand. There's so much going on. It's such a development at the moment. I really, really feel that it is, we are just being drawn into a phase of understanding so much more. And at the same time, stepping into our power and being able to change so much more. And looking around at our lives and at the world, that is exactly what's needed. So thank you for being part. Thank you for being here so regularly, for your support, for the love, for the encouragement, and creating this really, really wonderful community. So this is just fabulous that we can do all this together. Thank you for that. And before I disappear, I need to find the correct button again. Let me just see. It's somewhere there. I somehow need to get more structure into this, but here it is. So have a wonderful rest of the day, rest of the evening, and see you very, very soon again. Bye-bye.